Alright, here is a couple problems from your assignment. I went ahead and put it on my journal page. So the first one is number 2. So it looks a little more difficult than the ones that we did at the beginning. The 3 that we did at the beginning were all facing the same way, and it was easy to tell what angles correspond with each other and what sides correspond with each other. Well, it's not that easy, right? You're in 7th grade, so that's just not the way that it works out all the time. So we really have to be careful on looking at the angles and making sure that we are using the right ones. So if you're a highlighter person, whether you're using a Chromebook or paper or whatever, I strongly recommend highlighting corresponding angles. Or if you don't have that, what I will do right now is I like to put shapes around corresponding angles. Okay, so if we look at number 2, I'm only going to look at the angles right now. And I'm looking at the ones on the bottom, and we've got 44 on that one, and I see 44 on that one. So that means that those correspond with each other. Okay, so I'll put squares around both of those. And then there's only one other angle in each one that is labeled. So this one right here, I think that's a 37. It's hard for me to tell. It doesn't really matter, just as long as we know that they're matching. And this one over here is also 37, or at least it corresponds with the other one. So I put a circle on those. So now, when I have to figure out my corresponding sides, it's easier. So I know that from the circle to the square on each shape is going to be corresponding. So from circle to square is corresponding. Okay? And then I also know that from the circle to the angle that isn't labeled is also going to correspond. So from the circle to that angle that's not labeled, and if I do it on the other one, from the circle to the angle that's not labeled, I know that those correspond together. Okay? So you've got to take care of that first. It's the exact same thing in word problems with proportions. If you set it up the right way, then you're going to get it right most of the time. It's just somewhat basic math after that. Okay? Alright, so we've got a small triangle and a large triangle. So I'm going to do small and a large. Okay? I'm going to put my blank proportion right there. And the small triangle, I'm going to go with the green that I highlighted. That is 15. And the corresponding side with that was 20 on the larger triangle. And then on the small triangle, I have like an orangish color that I highlighted, which is X. And then on the large one is 28. 28. So in all honesty, most of the work is setting it up, not really doing the math part of it, right? The multiplying and dividing stuff. So we all know how to do proportions now. You just cross multiply what you can, right? Cross product what you can, and then divide by the number that's left out. Okay? So we've got 28 times 15. I'll do that right here. 28 times 15. And then whatever my product is here, I am going to divide by 20. So in order to save some time here, I used my calculator, and it is 420. Okay? 420. So we know that 20 times x also has to be 420. So 420 divided by 20 should give us x. 420 divided by 20. Which in reality, you can get the same answer by just doing 42 divided by 2 and then add a, actually you don't add a 0, sorry. Alright, so let's see here. 20 goes into 4, 0, 24, or excuse me, 20 goes into 42, twice because that's 40. That's 1. What an idiot. That's 2. Sorry. 0, 1. So x equals 21. Okay? So it's all about setting it up. All right, so let's go to number 4. Which hopefully you can see the bottom down there. I'm going to pull it up a little bit. Let me see if I can extend my screen maybe. There. That kind of helps. All right, so number 4. There, I think you can see it. So let's find our angles first. Okay? The problem is these aren't listed. The angles aren't listed in this one. But you can still look and see that angle E and angle B, they're not 90 degrees because they don't have that sign in there. But they are very close. Angle E and angle B. Okay? And then a corresponding side, which I can already tell would be the hypotenuse, which is the longest side of a triangle. Okay? And now we can just choose to go from angle E to either the shortest point or the longest point. Technically, you have to go to the longest point because maybe you see where the X is on side DE. So we definitely have to do that side there. And then a corresponding side. Notice that's the longest one besides the hypotenuse. So it has to be from the circle going up. Right there. All right, and again, it's all about setting it up. So we have a small, I want to use a different color. We have a small and a large. We're going to set up a proportion, nice blank proportion. On our small one, we have 8 is the green, and then X on the large, and then on the small one we have 10, and on the large is 15. Okay? Alright, so now let's just do our proportion work. No big deal, right? We got 15 times 8, multiply what you can, then divide by what's left. Okay? 15 times 8. 8 times 5 is 40. 8, 9, 10, that's 12. 120. So 10 times x has to equal 120, or 120 divided by 10 equals x. 10 goes into 12 once. Bring down that 2, or 0, excuse me. And 10 goes into 20 twice. So x equals 12. Hey, that's 2 answers to your homework assignment. So, the number one thing that you need to be able to do is just set up the proportion. You've got to label. You only have to label it once, right, at the very beginning with that first little ratio, small to large. Okay? You don't have to go crazy and label every single thing, all right? Just set up the proportion the right way. That is the absolute most important thing, because if you don't, you're going to get it wrong. Okay? Good luck. Y'all have a great week.